Welcome to Design Stand-Up, Episode 7, The State of UX in 2019, Part 1, by Fabricio Teixeira and Caio Braga of UX Collective. And I'm your host, Ryan Stone, reading to you every Tuesday and Thursday from the best blogs in the design industry, with their permission, of course. It's kind of like a free ongoing audiobook, always being updated with new content from your favorite designers. Whether you are a seasoned design professional or simply a design enthusiast, I am on a mission to help grow your knowledge in all things digital design. In today's article, Fabricio and Caio highlight the current landscape of the UX industry, from the tools we use, the methods we apply every day, the technologies we design around, and much more. Stay tuned for Part 2 and 3 in the upcoming episodes. So without further ado, let's stand up. The State of UX in 2019, Part 1, by Fabricio Teixeira and Caio Braga of UX Collective. We have seen quite a lot this year. After curating and sharing 2,239 links with 264,016 designers around the world, we have isolated a few trends in what our industry is writing, talking, and thinking about. Here's what to expect for UX in 2019. Number 1. Everyone is a lead. You've finally scored that design lead title. Exciting, right? Until you look around and see everyone else has a similar title. When everyone is a lead, is anyone a lead? A decade ago, most designers were new to digital design. 2 decades ago, everyone was new. There was something exciting about being the trailblazers helping to define how user experience as a profession would evolve. Designers are getting old. Today, it's not uncommon to find folks with 15 or 20 years of professional experience in digital design. These are the people who have evolved their craft over the course of time to adapt to new processes and tools. They've taken leadership roles in our industry to help train and shape the next generation of designers. However, the way we break down job title requirements by level is rapidly becoming antiquated. Generally, in the United States, it goes like this. After 2 years, associate designers become mid-level designers. After 4 years, they become senior designers. After 6, they become lead designers, not to mention the recent phenomenon of designers who acquire a senior title less than a year after school. Since the rise of bootcamp design schools in the early 2010s, thousands of new designers are entering the market each year, a faster turnaround than that of graduates who enter the workforce after completing traditional education programs, and all of them are now getting their highly antiquated design lead title. We are building an industry full of lead and director level designers. The current ratio between managers and individual contributors is so unbalanced that it's not uncommon to find managers leads of teams of 1. In the long run, that top-heavy structure might not be sustainable. Paying lead director salaries to individual contributors inflates our industry, while fancy job titles create the false expectation that someone is being hired to manage and not to produce designs, leading to frustration and low retention rates. To help fix that, some companies have been creating official documentation that outlines roles and responsibilities for each level to avoid mismatched expectations. From a high-level perspective, we are seeing a clear differentiation between the seniority levels implied in job titles and the actual impact designers are having in their organization. The list of titles for designers continues to expand, with new labels and levels and variations continually added. Associate, mid-level, senior, lead, manager, director, group director, VP. The goal is to attract new hires who are on the lookout for a senior-sounding position while keeping current employees motivated, rewarding them with a shiny new position every other year. Independence and power within an organization. Although unspoken, company heads are starting to think about their employees in 2 main buckets, juniors and leaders, which certainly do not map to the title associate or senior titles from the first group. Seniority is becoming less about years of experience on your resume and more about your mindset, your behaviors, and your ability to influence change in the organization, whether that's through state-of-the-art interfaces or pure thought leadership and articulation. In 2019, we should start looking at seniority through new lenses. You can be proud of your lead title, as it is an integral part of your growth story, but if you consider seniority from the perspective of how much impact you are able to make, or not, within your organization, you'll have a better sense of where you are along your career trajectory and of how your particular skills and experience are influencing others around you and our industry as a whole. Number 2. Designers are too busy to design. We are busy being busy. Busy preparing the A and B variations to test. Busy setting up remote testing sessions. Busy updating the prototype URL in the Trello card. To keep our heads above the water and able to scale our practice, we need to rethink how we focus our time. The frenetic pace of our industry's hypergrowth mindset has made us bad at design. We are investing so much energy in everyday tasks that it feels like a big part of our process has been taken over by the need to move faster and meet unrealistic business goals. We are heads down discussing whether that hex color is on or off brand, ignoring the fact that our brand guidelines haven't been revisited in more than 3 years. Are we spending our energy in the right place? Habits are hard to break. We have become quite attached to the methods we use each day. We aim for efficiency and reliability, but in doing so we get trapped in our little comfort zone. We ask for clear goals and a clearer roadmap, but we get stuck iterating the same feature over and over. We want to be bold in our vision, but we get stuck in group thinking. We want to learn from research, but we don't have the bandwidth to act on the insights we receive. When we finally become aware of our inability to make progress, it is often too late. The next step, usually, is to pause day-to-day work to rethink our longer-term vision and strategy. Many times, we hire an external consultancy firm to do the thinking for us. While it can be insightful to bring fresh eyes to a problem, strategic exploration shouldn't be outsourced entirely or framed as a one-off project. They should be part of our everyday decisions. They should be part of our company ethos. What is strategy after all? Paraphrasing the definition from Playing to Win by A.G. Lafley and Roger L. Martin, a strategy is just an integral set of decisions that we make all the time. Simple, right? Here's what strategy is not. Strategy is not just a vision. You need to plan, act, and iterate. Strategy needs to be realistic and help achieve tangible business goals. Strategy is not just a plan and guidelines. If you have a vision, but not the resources, it will never be materialized. If you follow guidelines and best practices, you will have a good product, but it might not be a successful one. Strategy is not just optimization. Yes, successful products must be continuously optimized, but that can't be our whole plan. Often, there is some resistance to long-term planning in the tech industry, but if you're solely focused on small optimizations, you might be missing out on more significant opportunities. Strategy is not complicated. It's about making simple, courageous choices about what you will and will not do to keep the company focused and in motion. How can I be more strategic at work? You still have to deliver on your daily tasks, but you also have to find a way to break the bad habit of having your work on autopilot. When designing, start with a concept. Concepts are simple metaphors we can use to help people understand how a system will work before getting to attach to the details. Prototype the most radical idea first. As Jason Fried said, when prototyping, always try wackier, quirkier stuff first. The deeper you get into a project, the more conservative it tends to get. Stranger ideas are more at home earlier in the process. Advocate for less, or as Julie Zhao states, prioritize and cut. When the discussion becomes, should we ship this mediocre thing, or should we spend additional time that we don't have to make it better, the battle has already been lost. The thing we failed to do weeks or months ago was cut aggressively enough. Either this thing matters, in which case make it great, don't make it mediocre, or it doesn't, in which case don't work on it in the first place. Practice zooming in and zooming out of your designs. Force your brain to be idle. Test your design in a different screen. Print them out. Share your designs earlier and often. Talk aloud about it. Write a summary of your idea. Write the case study while you work on it. It's all about creating the habit. Be patient. We like intensity. We love things that are fixed in time and easily measured. But only by staying with it for the long run will the vision be delivered. Consistency, patience, and hard work are the keys to good design, and any other work really. Our industry is changing. The world around us is changing. We can't keep doing business as usual. Soon, most of our daily tasks will be automated. If we keep our heads down, we will miss multiple opportunities for doing something more meaningful. In 2019, we need to create time and space to stay relevant, experiment, and think more broadly about our work. Our value and impact are not defined in a feature request, but by bringing the design vision to every decision we make. Number 3. Design is not saving the world. Facebook is using billboards to demonstrate their commitment to fighting fake news. Uber is running TV spots to illustrate the company's commitment to doing good. Once considered disruptors, digital companies are now using the same strategies oil and tobacco companies used back in the 90s to project the illusion of an optimistic future, while their design teams are still tied to aggressive, revenue-driven, short-term metrics. Tech companies have often been on the wrong side of the conversation for the past few years by creating tools and systems that support unhealthy business practices in the pursuit of growth. For decades, we have been solving problems and running businesses that took advantage of laws that were not quite ready for digital services and social media. That worked well for some time, but we have now reached the point where we can't consider these once new digital services to be outsiders. Their impact is felt in the economy, in the politics, and in people's lives. To clean up their image, companies are resorting to the traditional model of running branding campaigns that attempt to make things look better than they actually are. But once the damage is done, it gets trickier to redesign an entire business or service. We can't think of people like we think products. We cannot fix human behavior in a 2-week sprint. The damage these companies are creating in the world around us serves as a reminder of how much tech needs to improve and how much we have failed so far. As Erica Hall, co-founder of Mule Design, said, quote, "Pleasant to use doesn't equal healthful any more than pleasant to eat does." Building a healthy design is a long-term endeavor. However, if sustainability and positive impact are not at the core of the company, the design approach will be constrained by a limited scope and the metrics of their day-to-day projects. It took businesses a while to shift their focus from being business-centric to being user-centric. We are now quickly approaching a new era where the companies that win are the ones who can shift from user-centric to society-centric, from singular to plural. The golden handcuffs of Silicon Valley. The comfort of our design jobs, especially in Silicon Valley, has, in many ways, limited our power to advocate for the right thing. We are comfortable in our expensive chairs, busy pleasing our internal stakeholders and pretending we can keep our responsibilities as citizens out of our work, and the impact of our work out of our personal lives. For a long time, we even ignored harassment issues in our offices. But no longer. It's time we reach beyond our short-term goals and metrics to start discussions about the broader impact of our decisions. You might be saying, "But I don't work in a big tech company." While big tech companies are consistently in the spotlight, all designers are in the same situation. The size of your company doesn't matter. It's the mindset that you and your employer have that impacts the work you produce. A good question to ask is, what would be the impact of my design decisions if my product had 1 billion users? Focused on improving people's lives sounds great on our LinkedIn profile, but it's hard to put that in practice. The reality of our work is way less glamorous than that. We still have responsibilities after 5 p.m. What if, instead of working on unsolicited redesigns after hours, we put our craft to work in other initiatives and sectors that are in need of designers? Many nonprofits out there can benefit from our thinking. What if, instead of coming up with a better version of the double diamond model, we mentored new designers and other professionals and guide them through applying it to their own careers? As designers in 2019, we have to take a stand on what we believe in and what we want for the world. We might not have the answers yet, but we can add a lot of value by asking the right questions. The time to start fixing things is now. Number 4. Hear that? In part 2. You just listened to the post titled The State of UX in 2019, Part 1 by Fabricio Teixeira and Caio Braga of UX Collective. If you want to learn more about Fabricio and Caio and read some of their other amazing articles on design, just press the link in the show notes or head over to UX Collective at uxdesign.cc. As always, you can access this full episode along with others at designstandup.com. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, fill up those coffees, turn up those tunes, and let's design a better world.